Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Friday in the Riv. After the long awaited, well, by some, not by me, the long awaited uh, so called debate. And I think that the debate highlighted exactly what we say about debates. You don't get a hell of a lot out of them, but you do, in this particular case, get a real snapshot of the candidates. And I think that this was a bad move uh, for a few of them to be on this debate because, uh, well, number one, Paul reinforced him himself and what he is, and I
A
think,
liar?
yeah, a pathological prevaricator. Paul, the pathological prevaricator. He started by talking about uh, the all these people that are coming in from Newport and this like that, and it's because the rents are too high, and that's a lie. He did admit they were from the War College. Uh, hey, Jeff, they're coming in from the War College not because the rents are higher in Newport, but because there's no housing left in Newport. They don't have a lot of billets like they did years ago, and they've absorbed most of the housing in Newport. There's not a hell of a lot of three-deckers in Portsmouth or Tiverton. So Fall River, rich people got connections. They send them down there. They're getting a federal check. So now, just to remind all you people that these people are not Fall Riverites. Paul Coogan, by his own admission a while back, and correct me if I'm wrong, CJ, was talking about how he walked around the parking lots and saw all these out-of-state plates.
And he thought it was wonderful.
It was wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
of course you're going to get out-of-state plates, you nitwit. They're from the War College. They're not living in Fall River. They're
That's
going
right.
to War College. And your pal is getting a federal check for all those units. Nice fat federal check. Your friends are getting rich. The citizens of Fall River are getting nothing out of it.
And remember,
those people.
those people are only here for a year.
That's right.
They're only
And then
here for a year.
they're replaced by other. They're going to be War College. It runs continuously. They'll be replaced, but they don't contribute really anything to Fall River. What do they contribute? He's like talking about this big deal. Well, number one, they're naval personnel. They're going to go to the commissary and the PX to shop. They're not going to shop down here. They're going to get everything cheap because they're active military duty people. So they're only billeted here. That's all they are. And then the other people that are not like that, we've got a lot of illegals, I think, here. But he's actually proving he was all happy that we got these people from Newport and other places here. Most of them are just here because somebody's paying the tab for them, whether it's Maura Healey with illegals or the federal government. And what do we get out of it? You know what that proved? That opening statement proved what Paul said, and I'm glad Jeff's on. And I don't know if Nelson's lurking somewhere. Nelson was at the meeting, you were at the meeting, I was at the meeting, and Jeff was at the meeting at the Our Lady of Light Club during his first term, I believe, or maybe his second. Right. When he clearly stated he wanted to replace the people in Fall River. Do you remember at a council meeting that, basically Fowler even said, you can't afford the rent, move out. We don't give a shit about you.
That's right.
And the reality is these people who are coming into Fall River that Coogan is crowing about, they're not going to stay here. They're here temporarily, and they're going to go. Nobody stays in a city with crime, underperforming schools. They're here because somebody's paying their tab. And he proved that he does not like the citizens of Fall River. And if anybody that lives in Fall River that's not getting a paycheck because Paul gave him a job, or getting rich because of the TIFs Paul gave him, and the loans Paul gave him, and the leases Paul signed for their properties.
And the licenses now.
And they call it a license, which that's bullshit. But he doesn't like you, and he proved it. If you live in Fall River, Paul Coogan should not be your mayor because he went on record again last night in his third term, reinforcing what he said in his first term. We don't want people from Fall River. They can't afford it. Tough shit. And like we said on the last show, $31,000 is a per capita income, 53 is the market will not bear that. People in Fall River, but they want a new market. Their market isn't even a real market. Their market is subsidized housing in another form, whether Healy's paying for the illegals or the federal government is paying for military personnel to come down here to be billeted. Nobody, these are not Fall Riverites. And all you got to do to confirm that is look at how many registered voters we have in Fall River. If Paul's theory that all these people are just flocking to Fall River, why has the registered voter population only gone up by about 4,000? If we had 55,000, now we're at 59,000. The last number was 57. Ryan, you talked to him this morning. Oh, we might get a little more. But half of those people, we have to do a deep dive. They might be 18-year-old high school students that they signed up at Durfee because all the teachers are saying, vote for Paul because Paul's one of us, blah, blah, blah. We don't even know. But that's not a big rise in voters. According to Paul, with this giant influx of people, we should probably have 65, 70,000 registered voters now. But we don't.
We have 59,885.
Yeah, you sent me the number.
Yep.
But like I said, not a significant increase. I went back and I looked at the state data bank, which is, again, a disgrace because it's state-run, and it only goes up to 2016. But in 2016, 2015, 2014, we had over 50,000 registered voters. So you're looking at nearly 10 years, and we've only gone up this much. So we are not bringing people into Fall River. A lot of these people are young kids that they're registered to vote. They might be involved, but it's bullshit. He lies about everything. He manipulates truth. He distorts the truth. And he started out with that crap. But see, Paul doesn't have a memory. He's a Democrat. He says, forget about, well, we're going to show that one shortly. But he made it very, very, he's got the Democratic way of doing things. The border's closed. There's no crime. Oh, wait a minute. No inflation. 9.1% inflation. The border's not closed. There's tons of crime. But we still will say we deny it. But now their new tactic is, forget about the past. We're looking at the future. Paul says, we're not forgetting. We remember that Our Lady of Light meeting when you basically said, you don't want Fall River people in these houses. You're not building them for Fall River people because Fall River people can't afford it. And if you can't afford it, it's tough cookie. That's the way it is. And, so you got to see Paul doing what he does best. Well,
I think it was great because last night Carlos turned around and said, what we need is affordable housing. Market rate, market rate, market rate, market rate, market rate.
Yeah. That's
right. What's going on with market rate? How many market rate units have you built? How many are you building? I want to know. I can't find that information anywhere. Can't get any information out of your administration.
Oh, what did he say? Don't be negative? Don't be negative. Well, didn't you tell me?
And you know what he turned around and said? He said, we built 58 affordable housing units.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah, in 6 years, 58 units. And how many thousands of other units of market rate housing? 58 when Somerset built what? In one swoop a couple of years ago, 64 units.
Right.
So let's look at this. Somerset has a population of 18,000, a per capita income that's double Fall River's, and a family income that's doubled. They built 64 units for 18,000 people in a town with less than half of our poverty rate, more than twice our income. Yet, Paul Coogan thinks it's a big thing to get 58 units in 6 years. That's not even 10 units a year for a city of over 90,000 people versus a city of 18,000. Paul showed what a clown he is. He's an absolute clown. And he doesn't even know that he's indicting himself. And then he indicted himself again. CJ, you want to run that thing about Democrats?
Oh, do we have to?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
But I'm I don't know what Mr. Vandal is. I'm the only Democrat on this stage. I have two other Republicans I'm running against, and this is a Democratic state. So we want our team to work with us to do what's best. All right. It's the last question, and we were doing so good tonight, so let's just finish up. My point being that we have to do what's best for the entire community.
So I'm pretty sure, I'm glad he thought it was funny that basically saying this is a Democratic state, meaning what he was trying to say is they're not going to work with us because we're Republicans. I get that they endorsed you, and I'm very proud of you.
They didn't endorse me.
They did endorse you. I can read it. It's on your page. It's on your page. It's on your page. I can read it.
That's 2 years
So
ago.
listen, your state reps can endorse you. Your mayor can. Everybody can endorse you. Your governor, your lieutenant governor, the president can endorse you. At the end of the day, they don't live here. And yes, I said it. They don't live here. Not a single Republican has ever raised your taxes. Not a single Republican has ever run this city into the ground like this. So he can call us whatever you want. Being a Republican doesn't make us bad people, because I'm positive I grew up a Democrat until I joined the military. And then I learned what was really going on and figured it out for myself and what was benefiting from my family. Just because you're a Democrat Republican doesn't make you a bad person. I'm positive we agree on probably 80-90% of the issues. What we don't agree on is how you steal our money, tax us, build your big governments, and keep it within your people, and then we have to keep paying for it. And every time you wanted a raise when you were in the school department, you came to the taxpayer. For 30 years. You went to City Hall, you want more money, you come to the taxpayer. You've not created a single real job your whole life. So please don't talk to us about what we can build in our city, because I know what it takes to build.
Okay, time.
Now, there you go. Now, what Paul Coogan just said, listen, I know we got some of our viewers on here and some on Facebook. I want you all to do this. I want you to remember what you just heard from Paul Coogan. He said no matter how bad they are, no matter how much Maura Healey steals our money to give to illegals, no matter how much that Carol Fiola and Alan Sylvia will not give us any money if we elect somebody that they don't like. You got to elect Paul Coogan expressly because he's a Democrat. Even though local elections are nonpartisan, it doesn't matter what party. Two of the best city councilors I ever saw were Republicans. The best city councilor I ever saw was Steve Walsh. He was a brilliant guy. He was an attorney. I mean, he asked he was the best prepared counselor I ever saw. He asked some of the greatest questions I've ever seen in the history of this city. The man was the greatest counselor I have ever seen. Bar none, nobody even close. But the next two in line are Al Alves, who was a Republican and spoke with a Portuguese accent. Okay? That's number one. And John Medeiros, another Republican. Those are the two best counselors besides Steve Walsh that we've ever had. Their party has nothing to do with local politics. How much you pay in property taxes has got nothing to do with federal government and Republican or Democratic partisan politics.
Well, in some ways it does. In some ways it does. Look at Taunton. For the past 6 years, Taunton has had a Republican mayor, Shauna O'Connell. The majority of its city council, Republican.
Yeah.
Okay? And what is happening in Taunton? AA bond ratings. Okay? Lower property taxes. Lower budgets. Something's got to be going right somewhere. And it's obviously not going right with Paul Coogan because we got higher taxes, higher fees, higher salaries for friends, and double the budget.
But you're right. But listen, it doesn't have, it's an indirect thing. Most Republicans are more fiscally conservative. But on a local level, local politics, your water rates, your sewer rates are contingent on how your mayor, the city council allows your mayor, and if your mayor is working for the people or for the rich. As I said in that book that I read from 18-something, we're the rich, we won't give up our power. Paul Coogan just told you in that soundbite, you got to vote Democrat no matter how bad they bend you over and screw you. Because if you don't do that, we're not going to be a welfare city. Well, maybe we should be like Taunton and not be a welfare city.
He's not going to work with you if you're not a Democrat.
Yeah. And they're not going to work for you.
And they're not going to work with you.
Call Fiola's office and ask her point blank, are you going to get money for Fall River regardless of who the mayor is? Or are you not going to, so I can make sure that we run somebody against you? And the same thing with Alan Sylvia. That's what they get paid to do. That's what the Constitution says is their job.
Well,
to
from
be
my
the representative of the people. Not
from
a
my understanding, Alan Sylvia is not running for re-election. It looks like he may be stepping down.
Oh.
And his legislative aide is the blessed person.
Anointed candidate.
Yet the anointed candidate to take the seat.
And who's that?
Take a guess. She was part of the Jaisel administration. She doesn't like us.
Oh, what's her name? The little short girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
She doesn't like us.
Yeah. Well, look at the anointed.
Again,
My
anointing
ass.
of power.
But Paul Coogan just indicted himself. He said, if you do not vote for my team, you're getting nothing. But I don't want Fall River. CJ brought up a great point. I don't want Fall River to be a welfare city that has to go begging to the state for everything. Newton doesn't have to beg the state. Remember, they had the MBTA. Newton told them to go pound sand because they had enough money to tell them, we don't give a shit. We don't need your money.
That's right.
We know how to run our city. Paul Coogan says, no, you got to keep these bums in Boston and in Fall River because they're Democrats and otherwise we don't get the handouts because we create exactly what we want. Rich and poor, and a welfare city. I don't want a welfare city. I want a self-sustaining government. I want a mayor that's going to go in there and say, I'm working for the people. I'm going to keep taxes. I'm going to get affordable housing. Look at Boston. Wu was in there. Kyle Tower into the billionaires now. Kraft's running against her, and he's a Democrat. But he says, oh, they all have to attack Trump. Oh, yeah, I think Trump's crazy. But he also said, Mayor Wu spent $200 million on a soccer stadium for her rich friends. And Boston is the most expensive city in the country to bring up a family. We need affordable housing. And you know what the average income in Boston is compared to Fall River? But it just goes to show when you let these people go unchecked, they will never stop spending. Paul's proven it. We've nearly doubled the budget in 6 years with nothing to show for it. What do we got to show? We got a mayor that says, I don't like people who live in Fall River. I want to replace them. I don't like anybody that's not a Democrat because you have to be. Remember that word, the team. What did he say? The team. There's no team here. There's no team. You're the freaking mayor. You're supposed to be running this city for the people of Fall River, not the team. And the team starts at the top. Maura Healey, all the rest of the Democrats, this blue cesspool that we live in, this is what caused it. Paul Coogan made it clear last night. He doesn't like people from Fall River. If you don't vote for him, well, maybe our state reps will even pull punish us. Well, we can bounce them out too. So the moral of that story is go beat feet. Now let's go to the other candidates.
Well, hold on a second. Before you move on, I want to bring this up because Carlos brought something up we talked about on this show.
Yeah.
That the rumor is that they're going to raise the rainwater tax to $75 and potentially $75 per unit. And Carlos brought it up to the douchebag. He brought it up to the dictator. And you know what? The dictator didn't deny it. Didn't deny it. I guess that's what we got to look forward to. Another increase.
Again, if they increase that, every city councilor should be recalled or voted out because we had a budget. That 75%, that $75 increase, even if they say it's only per house, not per unit, is telling Paul Coogan telling you that he passed the budget without enough money to fund it.
Oh, I can already show you that.
Yeah,
I can already show you
we
that.
already knew that.
On the agenda for Tuesday, a $273,000 transfer for EMS.
Yep.
They say it's for the contract. You mean to tell me you could not foresee even a percentage of that new contract to be included in your budget?
You realize that's a violation of the law. I hate to say it again, but here we go. Chapter 150E, the collective bargaining law of the state of Massachusetts, Section 7, says that within 30 days of the execution of a collective bargaining agreement, it must be brought before the appropriate body, and in this case, it's the city council, and all the cost items have to be budgeted. They violated the law. And
no, because item B on the agenda is the memorandum of agreement.
Well, you
which also lists new positions in EMS.
Well, it's too late. It's too late. That should have been done beforehand. You don't approve the money before you approve the contract. You got to approve the contract, then approve the money. And I wouldn't approve either one. So that would be it. Like the Attleboro City Council did before. But, you know, it's a disgrace. And he said it. Remember, what he said in that thing, team, not a team. This was a mayoral debate. A mayor is the chief executive officer of the city. By the Constitution, he's supposed to work for us. He's not working for us. He just said he's working for the team. You got to be on the team. If you don't get on the team, they won't pitch to you. You know, they're not gonna do anything for you, which is bullshit. That's what they have to do. If they don't bring money back to Fall River, they're not gonna stay in office, and they know it. They know it. And I want you to call Alan Sylvia and Carol Fayol and tell them, Paul ratted you out. You're all in this together. This is a conspiracy against the taxpayers of Fall River. You're going to come down here and crow about giving us money, but all Paul's looking for is handouts so he can give out more pay raises. Because this is bullshit.
Isn't that the truth? It's the law. Adam, it's the law. There's nothing you can do about it. The law has a specific way of dispensing the money. He can't use it on his own nonprofit, so that makes that disappear. If he dissolves his campaign, which is what he should do, he can donate the money to a nonprofit, turn it over to the state, or use it to pay off his expenses. I think he should dissolve his campaign and pay off his expenses and donate the remainder to a nonprofit.
That's exactly what I
remember something. He's still on the ballot.
Yes.
He can still screw the election, which Chip and I believe that this was the entire intent of that candidacy, was to siphon off votes and dilute the outcome of the election. If I'm wrong, Chip, please correct me.
No, we are in 100% agreement on that. We said it from the get-go when he declared his candidacy that he was there to dilute the vote, without a doubt. But so let's look at the first guy we covered, our incumbent mayor, and we have said a vote for Paul Coogan is a vote for somebody who doesn't like the people of Fall River and has told you without any reservation that he doesn't give a damn about you, and he's just going to keep spending money and raising taxes and ignore the law. And because he's on the team. It's his team, and if you don't support his team, there will be. And that Vandal made a great statement. It was very, very. You know, I would have liked to seen a lot more of that guy because he made a lot of sense. But then we have Boomer, who. So we got a pathological liar who's run this city into the ground, who shouldn't get a vote from anybody in Fall River. Now we'll go to Boomer and. That would be Boomer and Scott. That would be Boomer and Carlos. So I was a little disappointed, I have to say, that with some of the statements that he made, you know, and it's my personal opinion. I mean, I don't want to see when I look at a candidate, I don't care about, promises and flowery words. I want to see some substance here, like. A forensic audit, not an independent audit. A forensic. We need to look at how they mishandled our money. A standard audit does not reveal if the law's been. That's why a forensic audit is so is so intimidating to politicians.
And
But
how can you? And how
he
can
made
you,
he made a lot of statements that makes me question his understanding of the kind of leadership it takes to be mayor. Being a mayor, you're the Harry Truman. What did Harry Truman say, CJ?
the buck stops here.
stops here. You do not get up there and say, I'm running for mayor, and then put your arms out and start yelling, Kumbaya, my friend, Kumbaya. Why can't we all get along? I don't know. Gandhi couldn't get us to get along. Martin Luther King couldn't get us along. Martin Luther in the Protestant Reformation couldn't get us to get along. Human nature. There are rich people that want to control the government. There are people who are greedy. There are people are never going to they're going to get along. And as a leader, what you have to do is work for the majority of people, which is the standard people in Fall River. To say that number one, why can't we get, that's a platitude. I don't want to hear platitudes. And then you say, you're going to let the police officers vote for their chief? Have you ever really thought about that statement? I hope you've reconsidered that. Because you think a mill owner goes to the people working in a mill and says, you guys vote for who you want to be a supervisor. You know what they're going to vote for? The supervisor that lets them do the least amount of work. That's who they're going to vote for. The police officers are going to vote for the police chief that's going to take care of the most of them. Every police chief, that's one of the problems we've had in Fall River. Every police chief brings with him a group of people that he is friendly with and he has gotten together with throughout his career. DePere had his people. They got caught drinking. Gorban brought his people. This person is going to bring their person, with their crew with them. And this is the problem. You have a lot of infighting from people that they feel they don't fit. This is why we've advocated to get an out-of-town chief that doesn't know anything or anybody and comes in and has police skills and will run that department and say, I want to see an ass kicker who's going to be in there and say, you do your job, come to work, do your job. This is in a social environment. Do your job. Our police officers, he's right. Our police officers do a great job. But to say we don't need more police officers, are you serious? How did Rudy Giuliani make New York go from the most dangerous city in the world to one of the safest big city in the United States? 10,000 more police officers and a broken window policy where they took criminals off the street. How did Trump just reduce the murder rate in 2 weeks? Virtually 2 weeks without a murder in the murder capital of the country. More people on the street. That's an absurdity. You're going to send more youth programs? We've had youth programs for years, decades. Fall River had the Armory, judo program, basketball program, every kind of program known to man. Did that cure crime? No. Inner city, Chicago's had them. Yeah, it helps to a degree, but you can't. I mean, those are just platitudes, trying to feel good shit. Yeah, we can do that by doing this. And then to say they're going to elect the police chief. You know what leadership is? Leadership is knowing that you being a military guy. Don't they have an officers club and an NCO club, non-commissioned officers club? Don't they have an officers mess and an enlisted mess? Why? Because officers have to give orders. You can't become too friendly. You can peacefully coexist, but you're going to have to give these people orders that they may or may not like. A mayor has to make decisions, not for everybody. Why can't we all you'll never make a decision because you can never satisfy anybody. A mayor has to be a leader, the captain of a ship. The captain of the ship doesn't ask the guy down in the engine room, what do I do next, guy? No. You are the leader of the city. You've got to make the hard decisions that you feel are in the best interest of the majority of people in this city. And the majority of people in this city are the people who are making $31,000 a year per capita and $53,000 a year family income. Not the Brad Kilbys, not the Paul Coogans, who is going to be a millionaire if he gets another term, just in salary, besides what he made on his side. and all his friends have become millionaires. He's even got a corporation council in the business of market rate housing now. Soon, Runaway Rumsey will be the emperor of the market rate housing. This is bull. This is what a mayor has to do. You got to make the tough decisions. You got to make the tough decisions. You think everybody liked George Patton in World War II? No. It was his job to lead the men. And they always got on Patton because he always led. There's an old saying, lead, follow, or get out of the way. You're the mayor. You don't get that run this city by committee. You get to run this city like a leader. And if you can't do that, and based on what you said yesterday, I have a lot of doubts, because all I heard fundamentally were platitudes. I didn't hear a Republican, because Republicans are more conservative and stuff, but I heard Elizabeth Warren. I heard a progressive Democrat's platform. Oh, let's be welcoming. It's like Paul Coogan, the school department, the superintendent. Let's not educate our children. We have to have a welcoming environment. Don't talk bad about a teacher that's not doing a job. No, we have to be welcoming. Let's put our arms around them and hug them and say, oh, don't worry. Paul's going to give you a pay raise, even though you can't do your job. Okay, if that's the way you want to run the city, vote. But if you want to run for mayor, you better show at least, well, it's my opinion, but you better show me that you got enough leadership ability to run this city.
Well, one of the things that got me about Boomer's statements yesterday, he turned around and says, look, we got to work as a team. Again with the team.
Team, here we go, team.
Here we go with the team. He goes, I got to work with the city council. They have experience. They've been doing this for years. Yeah, and look at the shit we're in. Look at the shit we're in. They've been doing this for years, but they know what they're doing, according to him. I spoke with the city council this morning. They said, I've never even spoke to the man. I've never even met him. I've never seen him.
Yeah, but I mean, CJ,
okay,
like you just said, it makes no
all-inclusive
sense.
environment. And he said, I'll be at every city council meeting if need be. He doesn't understand the separation of powers.
Yeah. Who cares? Like you said, he doesn't work with the city council. He runs the city and proposes to the city council his plans.
And they dispose.
Exactly.
That's it.
I mean, like I said, what I saw yesterday was horrifying to listen. He's totally clueless. And he's supposed to, no wonder the Republicans can't make any headway in his state. This guy is involved in their party. This is their politics. This is their platform. Okay. I'm going to trust the city council that's run this city into the ground? Are you shitting me?
But again,
there's only one councilor that has been virtually 100% an advocate of the people. Now, let's see what happens when this lease license bullshit comes up next week. And let's see, and I'm calling on the new councilor, Ricky Tick, do your homework. You better not get this council better grow a set and take this clown to court. We got a criminal mayor who circumvents the law all the time, and you gotta let him get away with it. So you're right, Boomer. The council does work with the mayor not to the benefit of Fall River.
That's right. And here's the thing. And you got to make it clear, okay? Many of the members on the city council have been there for a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades. And they've never changed anything. Yet Boomer wants to go down there and work with them. But then again, Boomer is an elected official. Okay? He was elected 2 years ago to the Massachusetts State Committeeman of the Massachusetts GOP for the 1st Bristol Plymouth District. He's gone to 1 meeting. 1. They have 4 meetings a year. He's gone to 1. The excuse given was he had an aneurysm. Okay, I understand that. But if the aneurysm has prevented you from performing your sworn duties as a state committeeman, why the hell are you running for mayor? How can you run for mayor and you can't do your other job? Is that what we're going to get when you're mayor? Well, I can't do it today because I have an aneurysm. Oh, I can't do it today because my kids have football. Oh, I can't do it today because my daughter has a play. Oh, I can't do it today because my kid has this. Oh, I can't do it because of that. Oh, I can't do it because of this. The other day, and I'm not calling him out. I mean, I think it's laudable that he puts his family first. Okay? But he got caught up in a situation where he couldn't do things because one of his kids had a seizure.
Well,
that takes priority, but
that obviously that is a
that's
priority.
a priority matter. But again, when you start adding all of this together, you have to ask, with all of this going on in your life, why are you running for mayor now?
Well,
you've made 3 attempts. State rep.
I gotta say something about that. Number one, again, it pains me to know how little he knows. It's not your job to work with the city council, Boomer.
That's right.
This is. Have you ever taken civics? You know, on a federal level, we have a tripartite system. It's a system of checks and balances. The city council's job is to work with the mayor when they feel he's right and give him the money, and not give him the money when they think he's doing something wrong. Now, the city council should get along with you when you're doing the right thing, and you should be able to advocate for the right thing to the people of Fall River who you're elected to serve, not as a team. This is what you have to do. You propose, they dispose. You're not working with them. They are a separate branch of government. It is their fiduciary obligation to make sure that what you propose is in the best interest of the city of Fall River and the money is being spent. That's why we need a forensic audit, because it isn't, and it hasn't been for years. I cannot believe the statements. It's like you are that's what the Democrats do all the time. Oh, we all together. We're all in this together. We're all in this together until somebody disagrees. If a Republican proposes it, no, forget it. If they propose the same thing, it's a no. That's not the way you run a government. You're a leader. This is local politics. It's not federal politics. The sole consideration should be the citizens of Fall River. And I'm going to tell you right now, I said it before this election a long time ago. I said it very clearly. I will not vote for any mayoral candidate who is not going to do a forensic audit of the city of Fall River. Because I'm the only person ever to do one, not on the city, but on the health care. I did it first. The department did it again with my guidance. In 08, I did it in 91, and we exposed massive fraud and violations of the law with that forensic audit. Of course, the city never prosecuted anybody, but we got all our money back with interest. And it wasn't my job to prosecute them. I was fighting for the union and for the city and for the people in the healthcare system in the city of Fall River, one of which was Paul Coogan. And because of me, Paul Coogan got 3 free months of Blue Cross and an $18 premium reduction for the rest of the year, even though they didn't pay a dime toward that arbitration. But that's the fact. You're showing. I don't know. I mean, look at people you want to run a city by committee. The president of the United States is going to run it by committee. Well, we saw what happens when you run it by committee with Biden, because he wasn't. The lights are on, but nobody was home. They were running the country by committee. We got 20 million illegals. We had a 9.1 inflation rate, and we had bloodbaths in every city, and we're still trying to undo it. You can't, you are a leader. As the mayor, you are a leader. Yeah, George Patton didn't ask his lieutenants and captains on it. He didn't, George Patton said, you take the left flank, and if the captain said, I'm not going to do that. I want the right flank. They'd say, okay, you're out of here. You're going to get court-martialed and possibly shot for treason. Shut up and obey the commander. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You're the mayor. Harry Truman said it best. The buck stops here. Don't start saying you're going to be, everybody else is going to help you. You listen to people. They didn't plan a D-Day invasion by themselves, but once they made the plan, and it was the general officers who made the plan, they executed the plan. When a business has a meeting, the president of the company listens to everybody, and then he determines what direction they're going to go to. And if they don't like him, the board can vote him out. And they just like in the elections. We vote out Paul Coogan. I don't want a mayor who doesn't want to lead. Like I said, lead, follow, or get out of the way. There's no other option. It's not lead only when I want to. Lead when it's not hard, because that's what leadership is, making the hard decisions. Sometimes you lose friends when you do the right thing. I knew a family that never spoke to each other again because they had an argument over, a union position. But they both stood by their guns, and you respect them for whatever their opinion was. But the reality is, that's what leadership is. Leadership means that you have taken the step to become a leader. And look at. I was very, very disappointed in what he said in his perspective. That's the thing. His perspective says a lot about like I said, he sounded to me more like Elizabeth Warren than he did like a Republican. And I'm baffled. And as far as Carlos is concerned, Carlos talked about forensic audits. He talked about actual issues, and he brought it up, and he was told to stay on point when he talked about the pay raises. But there's the only guy that I see that's actually, well, Coogan lies about everything. This guy apparently doesn't have any idea that he's going to be a leader, or he wants to be a de facto leader or a part-time leader. And from what I saw, the only person that actually taught, and that guy Vandal actually made a good point. If I had to give the debate, the first two people out would have been Coogan and him. Vandal made more sense in that 30-second soundbite you said than those two did in the entire debate. Because he was right. All you do is take our money and blow it. And he was right. And, that's why, in a way, I don't like debates. But yesterday, that debate really was good, but helpful, because I really never heard him attempt to articulate his position on how he was going to run the city. And frankly, I've seen enough. All right, I'm reading one of these things. That's right, Adam Bush. I don't know if you posted that one. I might have missed it when I was on my rant, but he's right. You got to talk to the community. You have to realize you're being watched on a day. Yeah, that's right. And the problem is the people in the community don't have the power or the wherewithal. You have to go out there and talk to these people, because, the guy that you're trying to get out the vote, and if they get out the vote, these people are in big trouble, because the guy we're trying to get you should be trying to get to the polls are the people who is working a full-time job for minimum wage, getting out of that job and going to their part-time minimum wage job, then coming home, feeding the kids, putting them to bed while the wife goes to her part-time job so they can pay their rent. Because they're making $31,000 a year or something, or $53,000 a year working 3 freaking jobs. They don't have time for this political bullshit. They're scraping their ass to try to pay their rent. And these are the people in Fall River that are suffering, that Coogan has no consideration for, ever, never, from day one, when he said, I don't want these people in Fall River housing. I want new people. You're muted, CJ. CJ, you're muted.
Remember, he wants Nantucket rents. Nantucket rents are good for Fall River. He even said that high rents in Fall River will result in lower rents for everyone else. I don't know where his economics came from.
Yeah, he took the reverse Milton Friedman economics.
Yeah.
What, and that's the only thing that maybe Forbes was right. What the market will bear. Listen, if people who own income property see all their rents going through the roof, they may not raise them up through the roof, but they sure as hell are going to raise them because they know that people are going to have to go to them even if they raise their rent a bit,
right?
Because there's no other option.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. But the callousness Coogan showed in that debate. He has no consideration for anybody but his rich friends and the politicians. Team. I'm the team. You got to vote for the team. I'm a Democrat. These people are not going to get money from you from Boston. Yes, they are. Because if those people don't give us money from Boston, we don't want a welfare city. I'm going to say it again. Fall River's been a welfare city its entire existence. There's always a handout to state. If we don't get state money, this city dies. Newton, on the other hand, other cities that are run well, they can tell the MBTA, hey, pick a finger. When they tried to mess with their zoning, what did the rich communities of the state tell the MBTA? You're not coming in here. You're not telling us what to build in our city. Beat it. We'll go to court. And they left them alone. But you go to the poorest cities and they ram it down your throat because you get guys like Coogan saying, if you don't vote this team of corrupt criminals in, you're not even going to get the little you get now. But we're not getting much of that. They're going to send money down, and what's Coogan going to do with it? What he's done before. Give out pay raises, make more bills, sign more leases, and put us deeper in the hole. And ultimately, we're going to run out of money. And that's why this will be, if he gets in his last term, and hopefully the citizens of Fall River will come out. And like I said, the numbers do not support his theory that these people are all coming in from, they're coming in from Newport, but they're war college people by his own admission. They don't live here. They don't vote here. They don't even shop here. They're going to go to the commissary. They're going to go to the PX.
Well, here's a kicker for you. All these new people in Fall River, right? Yeah.
Yep.
4,800 mail-in ballots were sent out.
Yep.
Less than 1,000 have been received back. It takes you 2 freaking seconds. Open the ballot, fill out the little dot, fold it back up, put it in the brown envelope, sign the brown envelope, put it in the white envelope, and put it in the mail. You don't even need postage. You don't even need postage. 4,800 and less than 1,000 have been returned.
Tragic.
Okay.
Tragic.
That speaks volumes. It speaks volumes. Okay? And then Ryan turns around and tells me, well, I'm hoping that by the end of the week, meaning next week, we get a good chunk of those ballots in.
Now that you warned them, that might happen.
Those ballots should have already been in. And personally, I think that if you request a mail-in ballot and you don't send it back 3 times, give them 3 times, you don't do it, then you can't get a mail-in ballot anymore. You have to show up at the polls. But they'll say that's a violation of their civil rights. Why? They're not exercising their civil rights. How can it be a violation of something they don't exercise?
Well, no, you're right, CJ. But look, Coogan said the magic word, the Democratic team. The Democratic team in a state like this, they have no competition.
That's
so
right.
They are criminals. But I'm going to bring in a couple of little. I just wrote this now because it's staggering. I don't know if anybody saw the brawl between Pocahontas and Robert Kennedy in front of Congress. Now, here's the hypocrisy of the Democrats, especially in Massachusetts where they go unchallenged. They got into it over the firing of some person, and she said, "Well, you were in front of this council, in front of the Congress, and said she had impeccable credentials and blah." So he answered. He said, "Yeah, I did." But then I asked her if she was trustworthy, and she answered no. So I'm not going to employ somebody who admits she's untrustworthy. So I fired her. And then she went into a tirade. And then he reminded her, he said, "You know, a month ago I said she had good credentials. You'll have to ask her why she's untrustworthy." He said, "But a month ago you didn't want to approve her. But now because a Republican fired somebody who he felt couldn't perform the job, she now was on the side of the person she was refused to vote for a month before." But that's what hypocrites they are. But this is what they want, and this is why she was talking. These are the stats that he gave, and I know they're right. Right now, today, 76.4% of the Americans now have a chronic disease. In the 1960s, when John Kennedy, his uncle, was in office, that figure was 11%. Remember, 76.4 is 11. In 1950, we only had 3% of our population that had a chronic disease. 8 out of 10 of our youth can't qualify for the military. When Kennedy was in office, when his uncle was in office, we spent 0% of our budget on chronic diseases. Today, we spend $1.3 trillion, and we are the sickest country in the world. And after he got done reading all that, he said, "And you, Congresswoman, got $845,000 from Big Pharma in contributions last year." Now you know what motivates them. $845,000 to kill Americans. And I can say I know that's true. He's not making the shit up. Many years ago, I got to go to foreign countries, and I saw diseases like in Japan. There's no heart disease or cancer in Japan, but there were also no McDonald's and fast foods and shit like that. And now we've killed more of them with our food and our dyes and all the crap we put in foods, which are illegal, by the way, in Europe, most of them.
That's right.
And now there's heart disease and cancer in Japan. Why? We killed more with our diet than we did with the bombs at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So, but this is what they do. Politicians, their team is not your team. Remember what I read in the last show. We are the rich, and we will never lose control as long as we can of America. And we don't care what happens to the poor people. And that's what's happening for. Paul Coogan made it very clear at that debate that he doesn't like people in Fall River. And if you're not, look, if you got a job from Coogan and you got no moral compass, you know, if you made a lot of money from Paul Coogan, put an X down. I guess you have to when you have no moral compass. But if you're a regular citizen of Fall River and you're pissed off, and when that $75 increase for storm water, that will come with a whole bunch of other things after the election if he gets reelected. Don't say we didn't tell you so, but we're tired of saying that. We said that on the charter. We said that on Durfee. We're saying it on Diamond, and now we're saying it on this election. So
yeah, there you go. Hey, I want to thank you all for watching. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. And get out there and mail your mail-in ballots. Have a great weekend.